Hello everyone, myself Sai Prasad, a lecturer in Ahmedabad High School and the Junior College. Welcome to a series of the lectures of Intermediate First Year Chemistry. We have started our discussion of classification of elements and the periodicity in the periodic table. In this chapter, we have started the discussion with the different forms of periodic table. We discussed about Joe-Barriner, law of traits, and Moseley's periodic table and the Mendeleev periodic table. Right? We have discussed about few properties in that also. And in the last session, we discussed about the long form of periodic table, right? What did we see in that? We saw that the whole periodic table is classified into 4 blocks S, P, D and F, right? And the few things which we remember that all the metal elements or all the metal atoms are placed on the left side of the table and all the non-metal atoms are placed on the right side of the table. Isn't it? By this we can calculate that metallic property decreases from left to right in a period. Isn't it? In this way we will discuss about few more periodic properties of the different atoms. Okay. Now see here, what do you mean by the term periodic property? That is the repetition of the properties of elements at regular intervals in a periodic table. Repetition of properties. What is that particular property? I already told that if it is a metallic property, if this is the whole table, then the metallic property decreases from left to right in a period. Then if it is in the first period, it reduces from left to right. Again, after coming from the second period, again it reduces from left to right. Is it right? Which means after a particular period from here to here, this elements or this periodic property is repeating again. Once again, see the definition. The repetition of properties. We have discussed about the metallic property. This metallic property, let us assume this repetition of this property at regular intervals from left to right, once, after that once again, that in a periodic table is called as periodic property. This particular phenomenon or this process is called as periodicity. Isn't it? Periodicity is a phenomenon in which the properties are repeated. The properties of the elements are repeated after regular intervals. Is it clear? Fine. What are the different properties of that? What are the properties we are going to discuss? Among them, the first one is atomic radius. After that, we will have ionization energy, electron affinity, electropositivity, electronegativity, such kind of things. Let us discuss one after the other. What is this atomic radius? It can also be called as atomic size, right? Tell me, what will be the actual size of an atom? Can someone measure it? Right? Usually we know the definition of radius, that from the center to the last point or any point on the circle, that is nothing but the radius, right? And we always discuss that always the atom is in spherical in shape according to our Bohr's theory, isn't it? Then how do we calculate the radius of this? Do we have any instruments, right, to measure such a kind of very minute substance? Do we have? We don't have, right? We have discussed that an atom is an indivisible tiny particle. It is one of the most smallest particle, right? It will be almost in the orders of 10 power minus 15 meter, right? 10 power minus 15 is almost all 1 femtometer. It might be up to 10 power minus 10 meter, that is 1 angstrom kind of thing also, right? It may range almost between this length. Is there any equipment available to calculate this amount of length, right? We know that there are something called as screw gauge, vernier calipers and everything. Can we calculate these kind of measurements using them? No, we can't, right? That's why atomic radius or atomic size can be calculated in two different ways. One is, for example, if there are two atoms connected in a whole molecule, then we can directly calculate the distance between these two centers, right? The distance between these two centers, if it is 2r, if I divide it by 2, obviously I will get the radius, isn't it? This is how we can calculate a atomic radius, and this kind of elements or this distance is called as covalent radius. Why it is called as covalent radius? Because the radius of the both two, or else we can simply tell that the distance between two centers, right, of a two elements when they are arranged or when they are bonded in a covalent bond, right? These both atoms are bonded by a covalent bonding, okay? That's why it is called as covalent radius, right? Atomic radius can be defined as, what is this atomic radius? Atomic radius can be defined as covalent radius by 2. What is covalent radius? The distance between two centers of two adjacent atoms when they are bonded by a covalent bond, isn't it? Yes or no? From this we can define this atomic radius as the distance between the center of the nucleus and the outermost orbital, isn't it? Atom will have an outermost shape, right? And one more thing, don't forget that the spherical shape of an orbital or an atom may not be fixed, isn't it? We always know that that will be changing, not only in terms of a spherical shape, it can be varied to form an elliptical kind of shape based on the nuclear charge, isn't it? Then see here, if a particular atom, let us say it is a metal, right? If this particular atom is a metal, then the radius of a metal or the distance between two centers most probably can be defined as a metallic radius, right? Fine. In our subject, we will not discuss about covalent radius and metallic radius, those particular terms in deep. In general, we will call it as atomic radius, or simply it can also be called as atomic size. Clear? Once again, tell me the definition. Atomic radius or atomic size is defined as the distance between the center of radius to the outermost orbital of an atom is called as atomic radius. Is it clear? Did you understand? What could be the units of that? The units of this atomic radius might be in angstrom, nanometer, picometer, or even femtometer for a few kind of elements. Clear? Did you understand? Fine. Then, how do this atomic radius vary in a group and period? Okay, how do they vary? Few things to understand here are, what are the basic properties to understand about an atomic radius, right? How do they vary, right? I hope you remember that from left to right that will be a period, and from top to bottom that will be a group, isn't it? You people know that basic thing, right? And not only that, an atomic radius varies in a group and period, that is, in a period it decreases from left to right, and in a group it increases from top to bottom, right? How can you say that atomic radius decreases from left to right? Tell me. See here, as we know that the nucleus is at the center and the electrons will be revolving around the particular nucleus. Then the nuclear charge will be a common thing from the left to right in a period. That is, as the number of electrons are increasing, then the nuclear charge also increases. Therefore, the atomic size shrinks together, right? The atomic size shrinks and so on, it decreases. Whereas in a group, we can simply tell that the number of electron increases gradually. Therefore, obviously, atomic size increases, right? And not only that, in the same group, the nuclear charge also decreases. Therefore, obviously, the atomic size increases. Is it right? Now tell me what to remember here. Atomic radius decreases in a period because the effective nuclear charge increases from left to right in a period. Whereas in a group, the atomic radius increases. Why? Because the effective nuclear charge decreases from top to bottom in a group. Is it clear? Fine. Not only that, there are few things to remember, that is, what about the isoelectronic species? Iso means same, electronic, that is number of electrons. For example, if I consider Na+, how many electrons does it have? It has 10 electrons, right? Let me consider fluorine minus. How many electrons does it have? again 10 electrons. Whereas if you consider Mg plus 2, O minus 2, again these also will have same number of electrons in it. That's why these are called as isoelectronic species, right? These have number of electrons are same. Then do they have the same atomic size? No, even though it varies based on its cationic and anionic property. Is it clear? Fine. These are the basic variations of an atomic size in a periodic table. Is it clear? What is that we learned till now? The only thing you have to remember is atomic radius is defined as the distance between the center of the nucleus and the outermost orbital. And how do they vary in group and period is, in period the atomic radius decreases from left to right because the effective nuclear charge increases, and in a group the atomic radius increases from top to bottom because the effective nuclear charge decreases. Is it clear? Is it okay? Fine. And the next topic we are going to discuss, that is ionization potential. Ionization potential. Hope you have a basic intro of this kind of definitions in your 10th class also, right? Now see here, what do you mean by the term ionization potential? IP, or is it also called as IE, that is ionization energy, right? What is this? An ionization potential can be defined as the minimum amount of energy required to remove an electron in the outermost orbital of a neutral gaseous atom. Okay. For example, if I consider some atom such as Mg, Mg has 12 electrons in it, right? What is the configuration of Mg? 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, right? Which means 3s orbital is the outermost orbital. It consists of 2 electrons in it, right? If I remove a particular electron, right, this electron will be always attracting towards the nuclear charge, then the minimum amount of energy required for me, that is first of all it has to be taken out of this nuclear charge, right, and an additional energy should be given to the electron. That means 2 additional energy we have to give from the external energy, external source. That is see here, initially it has to be taken out of the nuclear charge, that is a minimum energy, right. Finally we can define an ionization potential as the minimum energy required to remove an electron from the outermost orbital. Why it is called as ionization? Because if I remove an electron from Mg, it becomes Mg plus. Isn't it? Is it not an ion? That's why. In order to make an ion, we can tell it as an ionization potential. Is it clear? Then what about the effective energy here? Effective energy is the nuclear charges. Initially there is some amount of nuclear charge which is actually distributed among 12 electrons, right. If one electron is removed, then the effective nuclear charge on each and every electron obviously increases, isn't it? For example, let me assume some effective charge E is distributed among 12 electrons, then the effective charge on each electron will be E by 12, isn't it? What if an electron is removed? Tell me, I have removed one particular electron, right? Then how many electrons do we have? We have 11 electrons in it. Therefore, the effective charge reduces to E by 11, right? Now, tell me which is more here? Obviously, E by 11 is more, which means the effective charge on the remaining 11 electrons is more when compared to a normal neutral atom, right? Therefore, the atomic size also shrinks. Is it clear? This is again a very important thing. When it compared to Mg and Mg plus, which has the less size, that is Mg plus has less size because the effective nuclear charge of Mg is less than Mg plus, right. Since the effective nuclear charge increased, therefore the atomic size shrinks, right. Is it clear? Then if I want to remove one more electron from this Mg, right, there is one more electron in the outermost orbital of 3s. If I want to remove that particular electron also, I should apply more ionization energy than the previous atom. Did you understand? Clear? What is the first ionization potential? I have applied some E kind of thing. Then for the second ionization potential, that is the minimum energy required to remove an electron from the positive ion. Is it clear? That is from the Mg plus. If I want to remove an electron, let us assume this as IE2. This will be always greater than IE1. Is it right? Why? Because the effective nuclear charge is more in a positive ion than a neutral atom. Clear? Did you understand? Once again let me tell. Ionization potential is the minimum amount of energy required to remove an electron from the outermost orbital. Right? And what is the second ionization potential? Second ionization potential is defined as the minimum amount of energy required to remove an electron from the unit positive ion. Clear? From this we can conclude that second ionization potential is more than first ionization potential. Why? Because the atomic size is less in a unipositive ion when compared to the normal neutral ion. Why? Normal neutral atom. Why? Because the effective nuclear charge in an ion is more than that of the neutral atom. Is it clear? When it compared to atomic radius, ionization potential, it varies in a period and group. How does it vary? Usually if you see here, as the atomic radius decreases, obviously ionization potential should increase, right? So here, if it is more atomic radius, then the nuclear charge will be very less. Is it right? Then we can easily remove an electron. What? If an electron is very closer to the nucleus, then it is very difficult, which means we can clearly tell that ionization potential is always inversely proportional to atomic radius. Isn't it? As atomic radius is very high, ionization potential is very less. Is it right? From this too, we can conclude this, right? In a period, the ionization potential increases from left to right, right? Whereas in a group, ionization potential decreases from top to bottom, right? That should be the conventional theory from the atomic radius. But there are few things, right? There are few things which affects the stability, right? Which affects this variation due to its internal periodic properties. What are its? What are the factors that are affecting this ionization potential? Okay, let us see them. See here, as we know that the ionization potential energy 2 is greater than IP1, that we know, right? Because this is for unipositive ion and this is for neutral atom, right? What is the reason for that? The reason for them, there are many reasons. Among them, let us discuss two of the factors today and remaining in the next session. As of now, how the atomic radius affects it. This is an atom which consists of number of electrons in it. We have already discussed about magnesium atom, right? That is, if in this atom, if there are 12 electrons in it, right, it will have a particular size. That is, the last orbital is 3s orbital, which consists of 2 electrons in it. What if one electron is removed, right? If one electron is removed, the whole number of electrons will get reduced and they will come closer towards this charge, right? They come a little closer, isn't it? Obviously, atomic radius is decreased by this atomic size. If see here, if the atom size is being reduced, which means the distance from here to here is very high when compared to the distance from here to here, right? Since the atomic size is being reduced, this nuclear charge also increases, which means the external energy required to remove an electron will be increased, isn't it? Yes or no? Which means if my atomic radius is very high, obviously my IP should be very less, right? Yes or no? Which means the IP increases with the decrease in the atomic size. Is it right? Fine. When it comes to nuclear charge, obviously we have seen that if there are 12 electrons, we know that the effective nuclear charge is being distributed among the 12 electrons in the uniform way. If one electron is removed, the same effective nuclear charge will be E by 11. There is a proper example that is not specific to this atom, it is just a simple example, isn't it? Yes or no? Which means as the nuclear charge increases, the minimum energy required to remove this electron also increases, isn't it? Which means as IP increases, nuclear charge also increases. Fine. These are the two basic factors which influence the ionization potential. Let us discuss more factors of ionization potential in our next class. Okay. Fine. This is for today. Let us meet in the next session with the more topics of periodic classification. Thank you.